Welcome to this week's In Conversation, in which I talk to people in the Northeast's dynamic and exciting cybersecurity industry. My name's Phil Jackman, and I lead on CyberNorth, Dynamo Northeast Cybersecurity Cluster, supported by Accenture and the Innovation Super Network. We're recognised by the Department for Culture, Media and Sport and the National Cybersecurity Centre as representing the region. Today, I'm joined by Dominic Button, PhD researcher and academic tutor in cybersecurity at the University of Sunderland. Hi Dominic, how are you?
I'm all right. Thank you very much for inviting me here today to talk.
It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to hear you talk. So can you please start off by telling us a bit about yourself and what you get up to at Sunderland University?
Yeah, so like you said, my name's Dominic. I'm a PhD research student. I'm 2 years into my PhD now, and I'm also 2 years into my academic tutor role. So I lecture master's students and undergraduate students. I normally take quite technical sort of modules, so cyber resilience, incident response, and I've recently started teaching some of the undergraduate degree apprenticeship modules as well. Inside of my research, really, I think you've already interviewed my supervisor, Professor Sharon McDonald, and the research links up quite as well with Martin's as well. I'm really focusing on how we communicate cybersecurity knowledge between one another, especially with SMEs as well, because I think one way that we can really leverage and improve cybersecurity in the Northeast and nationwide is leveraging each other and sharing and building those security communities.
Excellent. So you're obviously extremely enthusiastic. It always comes across your enthusiasm for the subject. But what attracted you to start computer systems engineering?
It's a strange one, really, and I think if you speak to people over, well, in the cybersecurity sector, they all have these sort of twists and turns when they're going through the career. Initially, I actually started in classical civilizations, ancient history. That was my thing. Unfortunately, I thought I knew more than I did, and did really bad at college. And I was presented with 2 years in one of IT. So I did these 2 years in one. I got like the highest you could get and everything. And still couldn't go to university. I had bad UCAS points. So I took up a HND in computer and systems development. First time I'd programmed, first time I'd ever really bothered with computers. I got the highest you could get there, and then I joined the University of Sunderland on a top-up degree simply because I just enjoyed coding. It was such a hard challenge, and I love solving problems. And I joined there. I got a first and everything. Such a step up from college. I think I was awarded the best top-up student. I was awarded best student in AI, and I was awarded the best student in project development as well. And I think I really pushed myself forward to just try and challenge myself as much as I could. So yeah, that's how I ended up in computer systems engineering, basically just challenging myself.
Excellent. And then the step into cybersecurity, was that a natural step for you?
Yes, definitely. I think the first module I had within the computer systems engineering, the top up was Alistair Irons. And you know, Professor Alistair Irons, he just oozes cybersecurity. He's really infectious. And luckily for me, I got that infection, and I just loved cybersecurity. And that, coupled with Paolo Modesti as well, was another lecturer at the university at the time. You know, he could close his eyes and he was like a composer on the keyboard. He could just make some beautiful works of art. And I just really fell in love with the domain, and I went forward with it in there, really. But I joined cybersecurity with a really technical mindset. And when I met Professor Sharon McDonald in her module, she really changed my perception on cybersecurity from the wholly technical means to really looking at those human components. So I would say it was a natural progression, definitely.
So do you ever think back to your days of ancient civilizations in which you'd carried that on with that?
Yes and no. I think, to be honest, if you look at cybersecurity, there's parallels. If you look at the art of war and things like that, you can apply a lot of those principles to cybersecurity. And I think it's something that we'll probably get onto later on, was around those different skills in different domains and jobs what people have. You can bring it all into cybersecurity and it works.
Yeah. So we've noticed that a lot of people who are doing cybersecurity have got English in their portfolio and a very strong content. So yeah, that's great. It's great to hear you talk about beauty and art in cybersecurity. So where do you hope to go from here after you've finished your studies?
Well, I would like to continue lecturing, to be honest. Obviously, I've got the academic tutor role at the moment, and I think I've took on some quite big tasks in developing master's modules and things. It's the first time that I've ever done something like this. I would definitely want to pursue a career in academia and hopefully follow in the footsteps of one of my supervisors, Professor Alistair Irons, and try and get to the highest in the game and become a dean, hopefully, in the future. Obviously, that's a long way away, but that's the dream.
Yeah, I was still a young man, so you've got to wait a while to get in. So you've been through the whole learning cycle, and so what makes a good cybersecurity student? What skills do you need?
Like I said before, I think depending on what sort of sectors you're in, especially say retail, pulling those soft skills in there as well, communicating with people. But more so, definitely, if you look at the National Cybersecurity Breaches Survey, what went out, 48% of businesses want those technical skills. So I would definitely say you need some sort of technical component, or at least a technical mindset. But like harkening back, really, it's them soft skills as well. You need to be able to understand how to communicate with people. How do you break down these really technical issues into sort of a non-technical standard. So if you want a sort of a cheesy skill would be determination. I think I wouldn't have got where I was today without determination. And if that's a skill or not, I don't know, but that's what I would say. Technical soft skills and just have determination and hunger to strive to be your best.
I certainly think it's an attribute. Whether it's a skill or not, I'm not quite sure. Some of my business colleagues tell me that the students coming out of the formal education lack the wider understanding of IT to pick up a role. How do you think this can be addressed?
It is a problem, and I think the main thing is it's how do you create that work environment within academia? Cybersecurity evolves at such a rapid pace, and when you move into industry, it's sort of like when you're learning to drive. When you pass your test, you get told now you've sort of passed your test. Now really learn about driving, and I think it's quite similar with cybersecurity. One way we can sort of breach that gap, I think, is these degree apprenticeships. These students I've got the second year at the moment, they're working in the IT industry in cybersecurity, and they hear you're doing a degree as well. And the level of skill and knowledge that you have already compared to normal students is absolutely exceptional. So I think a push towards more degree apprenticeships would definitely go a long way to breaching that gap between industry and academia.
So, what do you think the apprenticeship will give you that the academic studies won't?
Well, harkening back to my classical civilizations studies, what Julius Caesar said, experience is the teacher of all things. It's that experience. You need it. And a lot of cybersecurity knowledge is tacit knowledge. You need that. It's stuff you learn. You can't really pass it on. And you learn that through experiences. And I think that's what those students have, the real life experiences.
Well, I never expected Julius Caesar to come in, but do you think he had softer skills as well? And how do you include these in cybersecurity studies?
It's really difficult. I think when you obviously, as I harkened back before about industry wants those technical skills, and soft skills are a big component as well, especially with an incident response. When I've spoke to people, professional pen testers, etc., they said that if they could come back to university and learn one more thing, it would be that soft skills. How do you effectively present those soft skills? So within my modules, I always try and include an element of, say, an executive summary to get them used to writing those really highly technical components in such an ordinary way. And it's definitely something in my own PhD. I know trying to reach SMEs, we need to break down this highly technical barrier and raise cyber awareness. So yeah, I think it's just more inclusion within modules on how do you write effectively, technical to non-technical.
And did the students get an opportunity to speak to real people, people with the technical ability to able to learn how to transmit those messages?
I know we have a lot of sort of external speakers coming in, so like we've had Waterstones and things that are coming, and I think being able to present and talk to those experts in the field and even see how those experts in the field convey knowledge to you and to other businesses is massively important. Like I said, it's those real world experiences brought into academia can really boost our sort of national cybersecurity posture, if you will.
Okay, something else that seems to dog our industry is diversity. And so, what's the university doing to encourage more people from diverse backgrounds to study cybersecurity? Well, first of all, is it a problem in Sunderland?
Within Sunderland, I mean, you've been on campus in the University of Sunderland. I know there's been a Dynamo event, and probably when you've looked around, you've seen quite how diverse we are as a faculty, not just within the students, but within the staff as well. But when you look wider within cybersecurity, it definitely is an issue. I think the gender issue is more so prominent, and that is potentially going to be addressed. We're running the Athena Swan initiative at the moment, and I'm part of that as well. But if you really look at the university and look at how we promote the university, the websites, the courses, the staff, and like I said, on campus, we'll have such a mix of different cultures, religions, sexualities, people with disabilities, and that's such a key thing because you all learn from one another. I've met some fantastic people in the university that I would just never would have met if I didn't come here. So how are we tackling that? I think one thing, especially with the gender imbalance, if you look at our university staff-wise in the faculty, we have more so female lecturers, fantastic female lecturers, than I would say any other university in the UK, to my knowledge. We've got some leaders in the field, and one way we could address that gender imbalance is getting those female staff members to be more on open days, show them off. They're absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I think as a university, we definitely are inclusive and we are diverse, and it really is a strength for us.
So you mentioned some initiative there. Did you call it Athena or something?
Athena Swan.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
So the Athena Swan initiative really is to address sort of equality issues, predominantly gender, but you can break that down further into, say, race, sexuality, and disabilities, which is something we're also looking at. But the main poignant thing within the university was the gender imbalance. I think Professor Alistair Irons actually had a target of 50-50 by 2020, and that was it's a really ambitious target, which unfortunately hasn't been able to be hit. I think it's just general logistics at the moment with how many people's coming into cybersecurity. But I think in the long run, especially with initiatives like Cyber First, I think that gender imbalance will definitely be matched and seen to.
Excellent. So that sounds really encouraging. Okay, Dominic, the last question for you then is, look, this has been a very challenging year for all of us. What are your hopes in terms of the future?
Try and get back to some normality, as you can see here. I'm not at home, I think everyone's been dispersed and we've had to work in a new environment. But the thing I think can really come out of this is how much we rely on technology in digital, especially for these organisations in the Northeast that they move remotely. There's been more of an attention towards cybersecurity. So moving on forward, I think the country potentially is going to grow digitally, their awareness around that, but more so than anything, get back to normal. I want to get back on campus. I want to see my friends. I want to see come back to conferences like Dynamo. I've missed it.
Well, I look forward to seeing it at Cyberfest this September. So that's great. Well, thank you very much for that, Dominic. I'd also like to thank Robert Campbell, who's helped me to set up these In Conversations. Look out for the next in our series, and if you're interested in taking part, please get in touch. Thanks, Dominic.
Bye.
That was In Conversation with Phil Jackman, lead for CyberNorth. Audio and video production was by me, Robert Campbell. This was a Team Funds production for Dynamo Northeast.